Next on the agenda is public participation and the accessibility policy. And for that, I'll ask our solicitor to present that.
Thank you, Mr. Gillen. This is a resolution of the Township of Plymouth, Montgomery County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, adopting a policy to encourage more meaningful public participation and greater transparency in municipal government. Whereas the Township of Plymouth is a home rule municipality organized and existing under the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Township's own home rule charter, and whereas the Township and its elected governing body, the Township Council, is desirous to restate its commitment to the greatest possible degree of public accessibility, transparency, and civility in the operations and public meetings of Council, and whereas Council intends to televise the Township's public meetings at the earliest, most reasonable date possible to permit greater access to the public to Council's proceedings and improve the Township's official website to permit greater access to the public to Council's meeting agendas and meeting minutes. And whereas in order to foster more meaningful, respectful, and orderly public comment and public meetings of Council, now therefore be it and it is hereby resolved by Township Council that effective January 4th, 2010, by resolution that the following public participation and transparency policy be adopted. 1. Regular public meetings of Council shall follow a prescribed agenda that will be available to the general public and available for inspection on the Township's official website at least 24 hours prior to a regular meeting of Council. 2. If members of the public desire for Council to address a specific item at a regular public meeting, written requests should be submitted by noon on Friday the week before the regular workshop meeting for Council consideration and discussion. 3. Council may consider other matters for the agenda as it deems necessary. 4. In accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth, Council will entertain public comment on agenda items prior to any actions of Council, whether at the beginning of a public meeting or at the discretion of the Chair, immediately prior to any items being acted upon in a public meeting. 5. An additional public comment period will also be provided at the conclusion of a public meeting on any subject, understanding there is a difference between meaningful public comment and questioning. 6. The Chair shall preside over public comment and may, within the Chair's discretion, A. Recognize individuals wishing to offer comment and require residents to approach the podium. B. Call for residents to identify themselves, name, address, and purpose. C. Allocate up to 3 minutes for each resident to offer public comment at a public meeting. D. Rule out of order any redundant, harassing, or defamatory comments if such comments or actions are such to prevent the proceedings of Council. Further resolved that the action of Council by resolution of January 4th, 2010 is hereby ratified and affirmed, resolved and enacted this 4th day of January 2010, Plymouth Township Council.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. We've heard the resolution presented by our solicitor. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Ms. Redinger. Is there a second?
I'd like to second that.
Seconded by Ms. Weidinger. Are there any questions or comments from Council?
Yes, Mr. Dillon, I do. Again, just getting this Thursday afternoon, where is this coming from? There's no discussion from Council about any of this. Again, we're just dictating new rules on our own. And secondly, we've talked about this before with the television, the televising of township meetings, and I'll state again, I'm not opposed to it. As I told you a year ago when we brought this up in a proper forum in a workshop, where's the money coming from? Who's going to do it? And does this mean another full-time employee? These were never, ever decided or finished the discussion about, and now we're going to do it without any accountability of how it's going to be done.
Mr. Simpson, the resolution, well, first of all, the regulations in this resolution are nothing different than what Council has done in the past or should have done in the past, depending on who the chair was. This just kind of sets the guide rules in place to have an orderly meeting. As far as televising meetings, we can definitely have that discussion tomorrow night at a workshop meeting. However, like I told you in the past, it would cost the township little to nothing to televise public meetings on our public access channel. Any other questions from Council?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've been here 16, 17, 18 years coming to public meetings, okay? I sat here when the council has entertained people like Odell Smith, people like Lester Bushman, you know, and who've talked and were never, ever not given an opportunity to speak at a public meeting about anything on their mind. That's their right as citizens, and you're telling people, your decision who's going to talk. This is getting out of hand, and it's not even day one yet. I'm sorry, Mr. Gillen, this is really, really out of control. This is not the way this council has ever done.
I'm sorry you feel that way, and thank you for your comment, Mr. Simpson. Are there any other comments from council?
Mr. Simpson,
Yes?
I've already started investigating the televising, and Mr. Gilman is correct. It won't cost us that much, if anything, since we already have the capability. Some other townships have done it through Montgomery County Community College, and it really has been working well. So I've kind of taken that on and started looking into it prior to me being sworn in, just for my own inquisitiveness.
Well, I will tell you the same thing I told them last year. I will not have a half operation going on, where you have one meeting, somebody's here taping, and you can't get a volunteer to run the camera and that. That's not the way professional
You're
operations is done.
absolutely right. We will not do it halfway. We'll have to do it 100%.
Well,
You're absolutely right, sir.
Are you finished with comment?
I just wanted to kind of reiterate something that you had said, Mr. Simpson, also. And when I was out door knocking and campaigning, I heard a lot of stories about the unprofessional meetings and some outbursts, as I've also been a witness to. And I really feel that the policy kind of sets a stage to re-engage our community and move towards inclusiveness and transparent government, not to stop it. I really do.
this is absolutely transparent. You three have made a decision without anybody else's comments, so that's transparent, all right? Okay.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Simpson. Ms. Weiger, are there any other comments from council?
Mr. Chairman, I can be recognized.
Sure, Mr. Eisenberg.
Speaking about the public display and whether or not this is going to be televised, I think there's not a person on this council that would not agree that that should be done. That being stated, that is 1 point of 7 points that are addressed within this document. First time reading this document was this afternoon after it was faxed to me. Looking at it, it takes away these individuals' due process rights, and also the individual's rights as a public citizen of this township to express their views if they don't announce themselves in a 10-day manner. What does that very quickly, Council, and I understand that there may be an issue of me speaking, and I hope that doesn't become a problem as we move forward. Allocating 3 minutes for a resident when we allow builders and we allow people doing changes in zoning 3, 4, maybe 5 hours a time of this council's generous time, limiting a public person, somebody, one of our citizens, to 3 minutes, I think is ridiculous.
Well, Mr. Eisenberg, in item 6 of the resolution, it clearly says that the chair will preside over public comment and may within the chair's discretion limit public comment.
I didn't realize we were in a dictatorship, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Eisenberg, I apologize you feel that way. But over the past 2 years, these council meetings have gotten out of control, and there's been very little order to these meetings. This resolution is no different than the resolution that has been passed in just about every neighboring municipality, and we feel that it'll bring order and really give every resident an opportunity to speak if that resident wants to be heard.
So we're followers, not leaders now.
Are there any other comments from council?
Neighboring this now that jumped off the bridge.
Are there any comments from the audience?